Boston, Florida, 61-62. Big one. Big game here. Boston minus 125. Total 6 shaded to the under. Boston finally looked like they had one of their worst games in some time the other night against the Tampa Bay Lightning. Give Tampa credit. Finally, against a big team, they showed up. Great performance. Really kept Boston at bay in that hockey game. And one of the Bruins' poorer performances in quite some time. But one thing about this Boston team, when they lose a game, they don't often lose two in a row. And again, this is a situation where I know bettors, especially the ones that cashed with Florida against Nashville in lucky fashion, I might add, because Nashville carried the play for a lot of that game. If you cashed in with Florida betting that must-win scenario, you're going to come right back to it here. But be careful. I mean, this is a good Boston team. They're where they are in the standings because they're a good hockey team. Florida's battling their asses off just to get in the playoffs where they are because of what they are, and that's a mediocre hockey team, an up and down team. So be careful with the must-win theory here on the Florida Panthers in this game. Should be an interesting one. You're going to have Rask and Luongo, good veteran battle in net here in this game. Florida trying to make amends for a terrible performance Saturday against Boston at the TD Garden. What did that game end? 5-1 Bruins. It was all Boston. Florida was awful in that hockey game. So Florida obviously trying to make amends for that, needing the 2 points. They have no room for error, no margin for error. They have to win this game and win out the rest of the way. And they'll play Boston one more time Sunday night in that makeup game. It was postponed due to a snowstorm earlier this season in Boston. Sunday night, it's a standalone game. The only game, the one remaining game of the regular season on that Sunday schedule. It'll be interesting to see from a Florida perspective if that game still means something to them by the time we get to that Sunday night puck drop between the Bruins and Panthers. For this game tonight, minus 125. I did not get involved in the side, although I, again, caution you, don't just bet Florida for the must-win theory. That doesn't always work. We've seen that multiple times this week. The total of 6, this is the one game I would actually make a case for the under in. Luongo was fantastic in the game against Nashville. Boston, I think, is going to starting to try and ratchet up their play defensively just a little bit. Against Tampa, they weren't great by any stretch of the imagination. Tampa got caught a few breaks, though. I mean, I've seen Boston play worse defensively than they did against Tampa Bay, even in the losing effort. So this is the game. This is the game of the card that if I like an under in this entire board, this would be the one. Boston, Florida, I think, can stay under the total. Alex B. Smith, we're finally going to get him in here on this NHL Ice Guys show for this Thursday. This is his first game on the card. Bruins taking on the Panthers. Alex, what do you like here?
Yeah, this should be a really fun game to watch. And like you said, the must win doesn't mean we'll win. You talk about that with Florida. And this is a spot where I'm looking at Boston here. Boston has dominated Florida. They've won 8 of the last 10 meetings. They've also won 6 of the last 7 at Florida. So the road hasn't really changed a thing for them right now. When you look at the goaltending situation, Roberto Luongo just turned 40 years old yesterday. He's going to be playing his 1,000th career game, third all-time most games by a goalie in NHL history. He played in the back-to-back, both games of the back-to-back with Nashville last night, or night before last, I should say. That was the first time he played in 2 straight games in over 2 years. So now he's going to be playing the third game in 4 nights. You got an older goalie. It's going to be, I'm sure they're going to have a little ceremony for him at some point before the game to honor his 1,000th game. And he's going up against a team that has been his nemesis for quite some time. He has a 18, 20, and 3 record against Boston in his career. While you look at Tuukka Rask on the other side, 21, 3 and 1 with a 1.46 goals against, 951 save percentage, and 4 shutouts. He's absolutely dominated Florida his whole career. He said Boston, they got something to play for now. They're trying to win that division. They know how important home ice is in the first 2 rounds of the playoffs here. They're not going to waste any time. Like you look at Florida against Nashville. Nashville really didn't have too much to play for. They're still probably going to win the Central, going to win the Western Conference, have home ice throughout. So they kind of laid back a bit, and Florida, of course, got lucky too because the game should have gone to overtime. Goal that ended up being disallowed right at the buzzer. So I think we see Boston take care of business easy here. I'm laying the price even at $1.25.
All right, Bruins for Alex B. Smith. Boston taking on Florida. Andrew McGinnis, this is on his card as well. Boston and Florida. Andrew, what do you like? All right, Andrew,
Yeah,
what do
guys,
you
in
like? Boston,
my
Florida.
eyes,
Go ahead.
yeah, in my eyes, really, when I look at this game, I really just think that it's kind of the opposite as what I was saying before, in the sense that Florida really is going to have to buckle down defensively and have to kind of sharpen things up defensively, and we're going to need to see a huge goaltending performance out of Luongo for us to see any kind of chance from Florida. I mean, Boston's still competing. I mean, they're still competing for that top spot, obviously, and Florida's kind of hanging on by that last thread, trying to do everything that they can. So, in that perspective and from that sense, that's what really makes me think that they're going to have to keep this under the total of 6. And it's like Dana always says, and I've really kind of listened to what he said about this. I don't want us, be losing the whole game, on this. When you bet under 6, you're winning the entire game until it hits a 6 number. So for me, I really see this one staying under the total. I see there being a lot of, neutral ice time and it just staying very, very slow paced kind of game. I don't think that Boston's going to be doing anything too exciting. They're going to be sticking to the fundamentals and just playing their game. Meanwhile, Florida is going to be playing a lot more desperate, a lot more defensive, sacrificing their bodies and kind of doing everything that they can. And, when I say that, I'm not saying that Boston won't be doing that either, but I think they're in a lot better of a position right now. And sometimes for a hockey team around this time of year, right before the playoffs, desperation mode is not always a good thing for this Florida Panthers team. But in my opinion, for them, it will have to be defensively. If there's something that they have to do, it's going to have to buckle down in their own end, in their own zone, and figure out how to get that puck out of their own end safely and securely. So having said that, for me, the under 6 looks like a strong play in my eyes. And head-to-head in the last 4 meetings in Florida, 4-0 to the under the total. So I think that, these two teams combined, both known for high-scoring teams, when they clash right now, I think both these teams are going to come out with a low-scoring performance. Under is 3-0 in the Panthers' last 3-0-1 in their last 4 overall, 4-1-1 in the last 6 versus the Eastern Conference. And as far as Boston goes, nothing too crazy sticks out, but 4-1-1 in their last 6 games on Thursday. So overall, guys, these two goalies, I think they'll show up tonight. Rask, he's got to get ready for the playoffs. He'll be ready to go tonight, and under the 6 is the play for me.
Yeah, no argument. Under 6, Boston, Florida. And I mentioned in the chat, Florida, yeah, they do look like they're running out of gas. It's because they pushed themselves so hard for weeks, if not months, to make up all the ground that they've made up to get themselves in a position where they're even sniffing around a playoff spot in the East. And when you just push yourself and drive yourself that hard for so long, eventually you're going to run out of gas physically and just hit a wall. And I think maybe Florida's starting to show signs of that these last few games. Even the Nashville game, they won that game, but they were dominated in terms of possession and shots and all that, and really had to hang on to win that game. Not a clear indication of them being the superior team that night. Yeah, they do look like they're running on fumes, and to me, they're going to end up falling just short of this playoff spot.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to our channel. Now, we've put a lot of work into producing all these free videos, so please help us out and keep all our content free for you forever by simply liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. Now, not to mention, a visit to our industry-leading website will warm the hearts of all our SBR employees, especially myself. Now, the links are over there to the left, so do check those out. Thanks for watching.